Banks free to trade with deposited forex, says the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, tax bills not threats to revenue collecting agencies, says the Federal Inland Revenue Service. And for the second time in 4 months, discos raised meter prices by 28.03%. And the U.S. Federal Reserve is set to cut interest rates today at noon. Oil prices regain ground as investors eye U.S. election fallout, just as Japan's Nikkei reverses gains after Trump victory. Other Asia markets fall. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Now it is still sounds of victory in faraway United States of America, but like it or not, it affects us not just in Africa, but in Nigeria. We'll start by telling you that the Federal Reserve Bank, talking about the U.S. Reserve Bank, is not expected to alter its policy path later today based on the recent election results, and it's all about, but set to deliver a quarter-point interest rate cut. The focus will be on what happens at the central bank's next few meetings and whether officials will slow the expected pace of rate cuts. The Federal Open Market Committee, which sets a rate policy, began a two-day meeting on Wednesday with an interest rate decision due at 2 p.m. today. Federal Chair Jerome Powell will hold a press conference beginning at 2:30 p.m. The FOMC reduced its federal funds rate target range by a half a percentage point on September 18th to 4.75% to 5% after holding rates steady for more than a year. Interest rate features a market pricing on Wednesday overwhelmingly implied a quarter-point cut on Thursday. And back home in Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria has issued guidelines to banks on implementing the free foreign exchange deposit window announced by the federal government recently. The guidelines released by the CBN provided the modalities for the participation of commercial, merchant, and non-interest banks in the scheme. The notice of the scheme guidelines, which takes effect from Wednesday, was jointly signed by the Acting Director of Financial Policy and Regulation Department, John Onoja, and the Acting Director of Banking Supervision Department, Dr. Adetona Adedeji. According to the document, guidelines on the implementation of the foreign currency disclosure, deposit, repatriation, and investment scheme 2024, banks are at liberty to trade with the forex made available by scheme participants. And in related development, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, has dismissed concerns that the 4 tax bills currently before the National Assembly threaten existence of any government revenue-generating agency or its operations. Speaking during a meeting with the heads of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, the National Information Technology Development Agency, and the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Adedeji described the concerns as misplaced. He explained that the proposed renaming of the FIRS to the Nigerian Revenue Service would not result in takeover of other federal agencies, contrary to widespread speculation. He assured the reforms aim to streamline the nation's fiscal framework and improve operational efficiency. Now, guided by the mantra of facilitating legitimate trade within the port community, the Apapa Command of the Nigerian Customs Service said it has extended operations to 7 working days so as to fast-track clearing of cargoes Michael Lale reports that the Customs Area Controller Babatunde Olomu said this initiative, among others, are instrumental to the increase of revenue by 101% between January and October this year.
Of ease of doing business, the command operates on Saturdays and Sundays to ensure that importers take delivery of their cargoes devoid of any delay. It is noteworthy to state that just last week, the command facilitated the first shipment of cargo to Kenya under the AFTA regime.
Firm dollar keeps peers on back foot ahead of BOA Fed decisions. How much is the Naira exchanging for other currencies this morning? And electricity distribution companies, talking about discos, have announced a rise in price of various electricity meter models, making it the second price hike in 4 months. According to the discos, the cost of a single-phase meter has risen from approximately 117,000 to as much as 149,800. This amount indicates an increase of 28.03%, depending on the distribution company and a meter vendor. The new prices posted on the official X handle of the discos were scheduled to take effect on Tuesday, November 5th, 2025. It also reflected the deregulation of the meter asset providers as directed by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC. Now, gold hastens retreat as dollar rallies on Trump victory. Let's now take a trip to the commodities market. And talking Trumponomics, Japan's Nikkei reverses gains after Trump victory. Other Asian markets fall. It's over to you, Maria, for a summary of the market. How is it looking like?
Just like you said, Trump is all over the markets this morning. We have global markets which continue to react to his election win this Thursday morning. European markets are heading for a mixed open. German markets will be watched closely after Chancellor Olaf Scholz sacked his finance minister Christian Lindner Wednesday night, effectively bringing an end to the governing coalition. DAX to open at 19,039 basis point, FTSE which depreciated by 0.07%, and CAC at 7,369 points also. Asia markets mostly rose in choppy trading. Also, local authorities in China have historically been responsible for much of public services spending, but have struggled financially as revenue from land sales to developers has dropped. The figures show Nikkei trading in green at 0.33%. We have Shanghai Composite, which follows this trend at 2.57%. Hang Seng Index also at 2.11%. Overnight in the U.S., all major benchmarks hit record highs, with Treasury yields rising on the back of a Trump election victory. Expectations fall as to how aggressive the Federal Reserve will be in cutting interest rates. The figures show Dow Jones average up by 0.17%, S&P 500 too at 0.13%. Nasdaq Composite reflects the previous figures at 0.21%. African markets are in a mixed trade, with South Africa JSE Top 40, which surged 0.83%. We have Namibia All-Share Index lower at 0.11%. That's the summary of the global markets. It's over to you now, Benny.
Thank you, Maria, there. And this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We do value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube and other NTA's channel that is talking about our presence online. Business Express returns tomorrow, Friday at 3 p.m. Do keep a date with us as you keep thinking and doing business.